Hi, everyone. This is Mayor Patterson-Howard. Welcome to Sundays with Sean. Today, we're just kind of doing a little bit of an informal update and a Q&A. So please get ready with some of your questions. We look forward to having a dynamic hour of conversation with you. In the next few weeks, we will be back to our guests, interviewing, sharing information, and continuing to keep you engaged, updated, and informed, and to hear your questions, concerns, and all that you have to say. We want to make sure that we're engaging our community. So we're going to start off this week by speaking about COVID. Currently, we have 117 active cases here in Mount Vernon, 117 active cases. That is really pretty good compared to this time last year and just a few months ago. So it seems like the Delta variant is coming under better control in here in Mount Vernon. We are up to a 62.6% vaccine rate here in Mount Vernon, where at least 62.6% of our residents have at least one shot. We're in the process of working with the Mount Vernon Neighborhood Health Center, the Mount Vernon Hospital, some of our churches, and the school district to make sure that we're getting our young people vaccinated, those who are interested in getting vaccinated. We are also working very closely with those same entities to make sure our seniors and those who have health risks are getting their booster shots. So booster shots have been made available. And so we're working to make sure that our seniors and those with pre-existing medical conditions are getting their booster shots. And so we're going to move on over to public safety. You know, public safety is always one of the biggest concerns of our community. And I'm going to look down a little bit because I want to make sure that I'm getting our statistics correct. So here in Mount Vernon, as across the country, we have seen an uptick in shots fired. And so far this year, we're about 25% up year to date in shots fired, not reports of shots fired. So we have about 123 shots fired reports. We've confirmed 60 shots fired, and we have right now our homicide rate, our murder rate is down from last year. Last year at this time, we had 7 homicides in Mount Vernon. We have 5 year to date. That's a decrease in about 25% of actual homicides. 1 homicide is too much. So we're not celebrating that, there's a decrease over last year. 1 homicide in Mount Vernon is too much. That is a loss of a life, a mother, a daughter, a sister, a brother, a friend, a cousin, a member of our community. So, that is something that we definitely are working to address here in Mount Vernon with our police department, our community partners, working in conjunction with our SNUG team to make sure that our credible messengers are out in the community and, really engaging those who are at risk for being shot or who are at risk for shooting. We're going to ask you to please take out a moment to share this video. I know it's been a while since we've done it, so we're asking that you please take out a moment to share the video. So when we're looking at our numbers, I'm going to share our Part 1 crimes. Our Part 1 crimes are your serious and violent crimes. And so our rape numbers are down from 9 year to date to 8 year to date. So Malcolm, I think I might have a later version of those statistics than you do. Mine go through October 10th that I'm looking at. So we're down 11% in rapes. As I said before, any one is too much. Robberies are up. Year to date, last year we had 78 robberies. Right now we are at 83 robberies. That's an increase of 6.4%. So, really, as you're outside in the community and you're engaging people, we want to make sure that you are aware of your surroundings, that you're not on your cell phone, that as you're getting in and out of your car, that you're paying attention. As you're just moving throughout the community, really, really pay attention. With so many people out of work and just challenging times economically, there are more people who are desperate and who are out there looking for crimes of opportunity. So we're asking that for you to be on the lookout. Aggravated assaults are down 15.79% from 228 last year at this time to 192. These statistics go through October 10th, so they're about a week old. Assaults are up. So assaults are up from 19 to 26. We've had a few people, definitely increased reports of people being grabbed, being hit on the street. So we're asking again for you to really pay attention to your surroundings. If you see something, say something. If you see something, say something. So please make sure that you are paying attention to your surroundings. Mr. Marchicelli, I will address your concern. So we also have burglaries. Burglaries are, hold on, let me just make sure. Burglaries are down right now year to date as well. They're down to year to date by 15% from 120 last year to 102. Grand larceny is down from 119 to 106. That's almost an 11% decrease. Grand theft auto or grand larceny auto is up from 77 last year, year to date, to 79 this year, year to date. That's about a 1.28% increase. About the grand larceny autos, as I read the daily tour reports in the police department, a lot of times with the auto thefts, we're seeing that keys were left in the car was left running. Again, those are crimes of opportunity. So please, if you're running, if you're warming up your car outside, if you're running into the store, running into the daycare, running in to pick up some pickup food, some takeout food, please turn off your car. Take your keys out of the car with you. Make sure that you're not leaving important items in your car that are visible. Again, those are crimes of opportunity. So please, we want you to be careful. So Mr. Marchicelli, who is a retired police officer, said, how come nobody wants to work at this police department? Record number of transfers and retirements. Crime is up. I believe it's the bias you condone at the department. So, Mr. Marchicelli, thank you for your question. So one of the things that we saw that happened, Mount Vernon historically has had one of the blackest police departments, or the most diverse police departments in the county of Westchester. But historically, we've also had the lowest paid police department, and this goes back 10, 20 years. What we have seen in the last 2 years, especially as the governor required that all police departments increase their diversity and increase their number of Black and brown police officers, is we've had police officers in Mount Vernon who've looked to transfer because of pay for a long time. Unfortunately, a lot of the departments around the county were not necessarily open to some of those. And with there being COVID last year, with police academies being canceled, with civil service tests being canceled, Mount Vernon Police Department, which is the most diverse and the well-trained, the best trained in the county of Westchester, but the lowest paid, they were easy for people to come from other departments to transfer. And so, yes, we did have a lot of people transfer out. A lot of it had to do with low pay. I know that our starting pay is about $30,000 below Yonkers. We had people who were at top pay here in Mount Vernon who transferred to Westchester County for mid-pay and got about a $30,000 a year increase. That's not rocket science, sir. That's called needing to take care of your family. So here in the city of Mount Vernon, we need to make sure that we are finding ways to improve the salaries for our police officers, our firefighters, all of our municipal workers. We are one of the lowest paid municipalities. Second, another reason is because we have not had a contract. Mount Vernon workers have not had a contract since the end of 2017. And so there's been a lot of concern around the financial stability of the community, why they haven't gotten contracts. So they've gone without a contract. And this is not only police, but it's fire, it's DPW, it's CSEA. It's the fire union, the police union, the Teamsters Union, as well as CSEA. They've all been underpaid and without contracts here in the city of Mount Vernon for 2018, 19, 20, and 21. And with us not being very sure about the finances right now, we're not even promising any contracts in 2022. This is the reality of the situation. I mean, we can point to 25 million things, but finances is a major driver. They have been under-resourced insofar as having police cars and equipment that works. Last February, we also, as we were working on the budget, talked about furloughs. And so people have been concerned about their financial security here in the city of Mount Vernon. And so we have experienced a record number of transfers, and especially when there was increased opportunity. The opportunity for a lot of our Black and brown officers to transfer out of this department, honestly, was lacking because most of the police departments around this county were not necessarily looking to recruit Black and brown officers. But as the governor requested that departments diversify, those opportunities opened up and they absolutely took them fully. So we have other things that we are working on in the city of Mount Vernon, in the police department, and any of the departments around morale. When you've had constant change in leadership, when you have financial questions about the stability, when you don't have proper equipment, when you're not getting contracts, when you're not getting step increases on time, these are things that happen. And so these are not anything that I've run from and I haven't talked about. I talk about them very, very clearly. So, those are some of the things that we are dealing with, not just here and not just here in the police department, but throughout our city. And so I will get down to the budget later on because, we are going to talk about the budget that is coming up and some new sources of revenue that we're looking so that we can do more reinvesting into our city as well as our city employees. We are excited about our incoming controller and having a financial partner, but I will get to those things in a moment. So let me make sure. Okay. So, so it's really interesting. You said that no one wants to work for the police department. We had, for the first time since 2016, a police department exam here in the city of Mount Vernon. We couldn't do one in 2020 again because of COVID, and the state civil service department was not offering examinations. So back in May, we had a police examination. We had over 500 people apply for the Mount Vernon Police Department. Of those 500 people, over 160 of them were Mount Vernon residents, a very diverse offering, men, women, all ethnic backgrounds, different languages of Mount Vernon residents. On October 2nd, we had our agility exam, and we had a good number show up. And about half of those that took the agility exam, which is the physical exam, passed. So over the next few weeks, we will be interviewing them, doing background checks, psychologicals, and all of those things. And we look for the first time in quite a few years to have a full class of Mount Vernon residents who are of diverse backgrounds going into the academy in January. They'll be sworn in the last few days of December and should be entering the Westchester County Academy in January. So we're really excited about that. We've sworn in a few classes over the last 2 years. And those are individuals who we've gotten off of the non-resident list as well as the county list. And so, look, we are very fortunate for people outside of Mount Vernon who have chosen to be police officers here in Mount Vernon, but we are really excited about, like I said, having our first class of Mount Vernon residents. They have a different understanding of the community, different connections, homegrown, and we're looking to engage them. Also with a new controller working with us and being able to really assess the city's finances, we're going to be able to really start having those discussions around contracts. But this is not going to happen at this moment. It might take us until June to really get a better assessment of our city's finances, but this is something that we're looking forward to. I'd rather tell a hard truth than a soft lie, and that's what I've said all along, as well as I'd rather underpromise and overdeliver. So if we continue talking about some of what we're doing here in the city of Mount Vernon, I know we spoke about the American Rescue Plan. A lot of people have talked about the money that we received from the federal government through the American Rescue Plan. In Mount Vernon, we received $41,108,000, $41,108,657 from the federal government. And a few months ago, we really worked on putting together the budget for the American Rescue Plan. And we did a survey with the community to ask the community about what you would like to see the money spent on, how would you like to see it invested? And so much of it was infrastructure, improving government services, providing additional services in the community, public safety. These were a lot of the issues. And so what we did is we went through the full budgeting process. We had public hearings through the Board of Estimate, which I chair. Then the City Council had public hearings, and we finalized our budget. We invested 26% of our $41 million right now is being invested in infrastructure, about $6.75 million for sewers, road repairs, about $2.25 million, and then broadband updates, digital equity, $1.5 million. And so far as government services, one of the biggest complaints that we've had here in the city of Mount Vernon is the amount of time that it takes to get your building permits or the plans reviewed here in the city. And we had no dedicated building plan examiners here, and we didn't have enough inspectors and some staff. So with that money, we are hiring several plan examiners for the city of Mount Vernon, as well as clerks to work in the examination room to really move those permitting processes along. We also, because we know here in the city of Mount Vernon, our police cars have been a terrible, terrible issue. So we've put in an order for 20 police cars. They are hybrid police cars that will begin coming in from January to March. These are hybrid vehicles that will come in from January to March. So we are excited about that. A few months ago, we were able to work through the county of Westchester, working with our county executive, George Latimer, our deputy county executive, Ken Jenkins, our commissioner of police for the county, Commissioner Gleason, and Deputy Commissioner Hodges, as well as our county legislators, Tyree Woodson Samuels and David Tubiolo. And we were able to lease 4 police vehicles from them. We're hoping that we'll be able to get another 3 from the county within the next few days. That will help us get through the end of the year. But Mount Vernon, we all know that we want to be independent as a community. We're so grateful to the county for their help. But we were able to purchase 20 new police cars, which will be on the road beginning January, going through March. We expect to get them in. We will also be purchasing a fire ladder. As you saw last week, on one day, we had 2 huge fires, very long burning and hard to fight fires. And we had all of our equipment and all of our manpower out there. And so we are going to be purchasing another aerial ladder, which is really, really important. So we could successfully fight our fires, and again, so that we can take care of our own needs. We'll be bringing in a comfort van also for our firefighters, because oftentimes when they're out there for several hours and running in and out of fire, running in and out of that heat, they need a place to kind of recover. We will be purchasing an ESU truck for our police department, emergency services unit. I guess others would kind of call it like the SWAT unit. We'll be purchasing a truck for them. We're looking to bring in, with the help of our Assemblyman Gary Pretlow, an emergency mobile command center, which will go throughout the county, and we can utilize that. I'm going to be answering some questions in a little bit, in a few minutes, everyone. We're going to bring in more money for emergency rental assistance and foreclosure prevention, working with some of our small businesses and not-for-profits for small business grants. For those of you who own a small business, we will be having a small business breakfast on Thursday, the 21st, this week, the 21st of October at Double Doors. If you reach out, it's going to be around 8 in the morning. I can't remember exactly right now. Malcolm might be able to pull that up later on, but there will be a small business breakfast so that we can speak to you about the $800 million available through New York Forward for our small businesses to help them, especially as they were impacted by COVID. We want to make sure that our small businesses have the capital that they need to stay open. We know that they are an important part of our economic engine here in the city of Mount Vernon, and we want to make sure that we're supporting them. These are local businesses, they hire local. So let's make sure that we're spending local, because it just recycles the money. It allows us to hire more people in the community, and it also supports and expands our tax base. We continue to provide food and food distribution throughout the community. We also, which we're excited about, is we were able to purchase 4 street sweepers. We've been borrowing street sweepers from New York City. So thank you, Mayor de Blasio and your team, because we've been borrowing street sweepers from them. But we were able to purchase 4 street sweepers, and I believe get 1 or 2 of our older street sweepers back up and running. So we're excited about that. And for those of you who do remember back in July when we had to shut down garbage collection for a day and a half, we are anticipating the delivery of 7 brand new sanitation trucks, again, purchased with our American Rescue Plan allocation from the federal government. So those will be coming in any day now. We're working with New York City to extend the 90 days that they have been lending us sanitation trucks. And so, we want to make sure that we keep our services going, but we're really excited about the sanitation trucks that we're going to be getting in. We're also going to be able to use some of our American Rescue Plan monies to help with renovation of different city properties. It's really important. So if you drive by City Hall in the next few days, you're going to see scaffolding up around City Hall. You're going to see scaffolding because the roof here is really, really damaged. We've lost several offices to roof damages here and water coming in. So, we're going to be able to work here. We're going to be able to do some work over at the different firehouses, at the police department, replacing their shooting range, dealing with their roof over there as well, investing some money in our firehouses. But there's so much to do. And then we're also going to be able to put some money towards our emergency operations center in here. As you've seen, this from Hurricane Ida to Tropical Storm Isaias and different emergencies. We want to make sure that we have a local emergency warning system for our community that makes that we're able to get information out to all of our residents if there is a natural disaster or any type of emergency in the community. We want to be able to communicate. So I'm going to take a few questions. If you could put the questions up for me, Malcolm. What is the plan to clean the city and keep the city clean? Are you guys able to increase the number of trash cans on city blocks? And so thank you, Ms. Roof. We are looking to do that. If you have noticed, I don't know if you've looked around the city, we have a campaign going right now called Love Our City, and it really is encouraging people to pick up garbage behind them. Yes, we are also looking to add some workers to DPW. We've had positions budgeted. But, with challenges we've had with our finance department, we have not been able to fully staff DPW. We're looking to be able to do that in the new year, make sure that we have the right people in the right positions to do the right work. But it's not just about us picking up garbage. We're picking up garbage Monday through Friday. The trucks are around picking up on the north side and on the south side. But one of the challenges that we also have is people are just downright disrespectful. People are disrespectful. People are dirty. Some people are just nasty. They treat the community like it is a garbage can. And I've, driven through the streets and I see people parked in their cars on the side of the road, and they'll take their lunch, their McDonald's, their Dunkin' Donuts stuff, their trash, and instead of bag it up and bring it into their house, a lot of us eat in our cars as we're traveling to and fro. But what you're not supposed to do is take that and just clean out your car and throw it in the outside of your car. We can have garbage cans on streets, but if people won't even walk, I've looked at people be 5 feet away from a garbage can and they throw it away on the street and on the ground. So we really, really need people to take greater pride in the city, everything from mass to garbage to fast food, wrappers and things of that nature. Pick it up. We also, sometimes as I'm walking up and down the street, I also see people have taken stuff maybe out of their cars and put it in little bags, and they're just leaving it on the curb. You don't just leave garbage on the curb. DPW's job is not to pick up garbage from places that it's not designated to be. We're supposed to pick up garbage from in front of houses, buildings, businesses, things of that nature. You can't just leave garbage on the corner at a pole, at a utility pole. That's challenging. We have plenty of days available, several days a week for mattresses to be picked up and household items to be picked up. We're asking people to really follow the schedule. It's really, really important to do that. We have to keep our community clean together because it's a sign of respect for your neighborhood. A cleaner neighborhood makes people feel good. We're encouraging, homeowners, business owners to sweep out in front of your home, sweep out in front of your business, do those things. The DPW, we do street sweeping. We're trying to keep our commercial corridors clean, and we're picking up garbage, recycling, and rubbish. But we need the residents to do their part by by not just littering everywhere. We will have people, we just don't have the full capacity right now to write tickets every time we see someone throw something on the garbage on the ground. We don't have that number of police just to jump out the car for someone and write them a ticket when they're littering. So we need the community to be more mindful and help us with that. Malcolm, next question. What about our sewer issues? Okay, great. So our sewer issues, if you were listening earlier, we talked about the fact that we have invested $6.75 million into our sewers. We are working with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, the Federal Environmental Protection Agency, the County of Westchester. The County of Westchester has been working with us to craft and send out a request for proposals for some sewer engineers. We received a $100,000 grant from the New York State Division of Environmental Conservation to get a sewer engineer to do a full assessment, to work with our sewer crew and our DPW crew and our city engineer to do a full assessment of our sewer system here. A few months ago, we did purchase some extra equipment, one of them being called an SL-RAT, which is a sewer line rapid assessment tool, and it cameras and it goes through the sewer lines to see where there are breaks, where there are collapses. We have been able to work with some of our vendors to get them paid and get back on track, and so far as going underground and repairing those sewer lines. This project altogether is going to be a multi-year project. This can take up to 10 years. We have over 100 miles of sewer lines to replace. If we just repaired them, it would be about $125 million project. if we are to replace them, it's going to be closer to a $200 million project. We've applied in the past, I believe, month. We've put in almost $15 million worth of applications to the state of New York for different competitive sewer grants. We'll continue with that. We did receive a $1.5 million allocation through our Congressman Bowman, and it's been supported also by our Senator Gillibrand and our Senator Schumer from the federal government. And, prayerfully, we're waiting for the Biden Build Back Better infrastructure bill, which has trillions, over $1 trillion in it to be eligible for some of that money. We are telling our story. We're working with the National Resources Defense Council, the American Wildlife Federation, and a lot of professional organizations, the White House Environmental Justice Commission, the Center for Racial Equity and Justice, and Dr. Catherine Coleman Flowers to get our story out and get help that we need around the sewers. So we're looking forward to move forward on that. We're looking forward to moving ahead on that issue to address them. But we have been able to replace some of these sewer lines as well as reline some of the sewer lines. But it is going to be, like I said, a project that's going to take about a decade and close to $200 million. Next question. Will you please tell us the anticipated completion date of Memorial Field? Well, so this is a project that's being driven by the county. If you've driven by Memorial Field, you'll see more progress on it than ever before. This is, look, I'm going to say this. This is not my anticipated completion date, but I'm hoping that we will be sitting in Memorial Field for Mount Vernon High School graduation in the spring. I'm looking forward to that. It could be finished before that. I can't tell you the exact date because the project's being driven by the county, and I'm sure our county executive will be giving us an update with a more definitive timetable. Our team here in Mount Vernon is working closely with the county to monitor that project and to move it forward. But, the project final timeline does rest with the county, but it is moving forward. The stands are being built, the infrastructure, the sewage, the water lines, the plumbing, those things have been put in. The ride by, you're going to see it. And I think probably within the next week or so, we'll be going down into Memorial Field with the county executive and our county team to give the community an update. So keep on the lookout for that. How much longer will the borrowed sanitation trucks be available to us? When will we be purchasing our own? I think I answered that a little bit earlier, but I'll go back to that. So we were borrowing the sanitation trucks from New York City for 90 days with an extension of 90 days. And so that 90-day extension will take us through the end of the year. We're looking to get our sanitation trucks into the city within a week, but then we have to get them insured. We have to get our guys trained on them. We have to get them, labeled Mount Vernon, property, but those will be on the road before the winter hits, as well as we are in the process of purchasing some new snow plows and making sure that we are ready to address the winter weather here. Thank you, Mr. David Gladman. Next question. Can I please address the financial mishandling at our library? Okay, Ms. Crawford, so the city of Mount Vernon does not oversee the library. The library's finances are overseen by the school district. And so, that would be a better question for the Board of Trustees. I know that the library is going through an audit. There have been some preliminary audits saying that certain expenses have not been logged correctly, but I know that the Library Board of Trustees has hired an external firm to work with them in handling that. So I'm having conversations with them as to where that's going. But look, just like the city of Mount Vernon, we're all going through audits and we have to see what's happened on the back end with the money. And I expect to get an update from the school board trustees who oversee the library along with the library trustees. And so, nothing has been said that there's been mishandling or misappropriation of funds. Right now, based on what I've read, it says that there has been funds that have been filed maybe in the wrong, what do you want to call those, financial code lines. And so, I'm looking forward to get further information, and will continue to have my eye on that. Will Mount Vernon allow cannabis businesses to operate and offer support for social equity applicants? So what we're doing right now is there are applications that are into the state for companies who are looking to expand medical marijuana access. And then there will be applications going into the state for recreational use of marijuana. And so I know there are companies who have both applications in, who are speaking with us here in Mount Vernon. Look, there are people who are going to say, why would we allow medical marijuana or legal marijuana or recreational marijuana into the city of Mount Vernon? One of the challenges that we've experienced, and some of you in the community know, that overdoses have increased. We had an overdose. I just drove by and saw the vigil for someone who overdosed in the hole. If you don't know what the hole is over there behind the old path mark, kind of a little area down in there. So you have a lot of people, because marijuana is legal now, just like we had prohibition many years ago around alcohol. And then alcohol became legalized and regulated. It's the same thing with marijuana. Marijuana is going to become legalized and regulated. We have to be careful, because we have so many young people or people who are selling marijuana on the street, and it's being cut with fentanyl or other things of that nature. So we've seen overdoses go up. And so, like any other thing that's made legal, there has to be regulation around that. We want to make sure, you asked in your question, you said, will there be social equity? Mount Vernon is a Black and brown community, and people have made money off of us illegally. And if there's money to be made from this legally, we want to make sure that it's done through an equity lens, that it's done professionally, and that the community is able to benefit from the tax support, from opportunities for jobs to come to Mount Vernon, but it's done in a way that is safe medically, and that is safe in a public safety way. So, is there any updates on Station 4? So we have a contract with a structural, mechanical, architectural, environmental engineer, and they are doing the engineering assessment for Station 4, as well as the armory that's been closed. So they're doing those assessments right now, a full an engineering assessment on those buildings, so we can find out what the true cost of fully renovating and bringing those buildings up to standard and up to code are. We're waiting on the final reports on that. We have a temporary fire station that is pretty much ready to go. We're just waiting on, right now, finalization of the bathroom and their appliances. We know that there's supply line challenges, so we're waiting for the appliances to come through, and that station should be finished within the next few days. Our firefighters continue to operate out of the 3rd Street Firehouse, but before the weather changes, we want to make sure that they're in the temporary Station 4 while we continue to do the engineering assessment to find out the full cost of reopening Station 4, as well as the timeline. Thank you so much, Ms. Nguyen. I know you've written books and you are a great encourager of the fire department. So, were there any more questions? Malcolm? Oh, a Public Works update. So we spoke about the Public Works update. We talked about the fact that we have purchased 4 street sweepers here in the city of Mount Vernon. Those are on the road. 7 sanitation trucks are coming. We have committed $10 million to the repaving of streets here in the city of Mount Vernon. Malcolm, do you have the map that you can pull up so we can see where we are starting some of our repaving projects? We will be starting some repaving projects here in Mount Vernon starting tomorrow. Down in the Kingsbridge Road section of Mount Vernon, as well as Fifth Avenue between First Street and Fifth. On Fifth Avenue between First Street and Fifth Street as well, or Sanford Boulevard. If you see this here, the green are some of the street repaving projects that we're going to have. Malcolm, if you can scroll down, because we have some that are going to be occurring on the south side. We have some street repaving that are happening on the north side. So we are looking at some of the worst streets in the city on both the south side and the north side. We know street paving has to be done everywhere in Mount Vernon. Please do not expect us to do 100 miles of streets overnight. This will be the biggest repaving project that has happened in the city of Mount Vernon since 2018, and probably even before that. And Malcolm, if you can go down and just show the legend again. So Con Edison is in orange. If you look here, there's a lot of Con Edison work that is going to be done here in Mount Vernon. And so one of the great things that we're doing is whenever Con Ed opens the road, and as you can see, it's a real good chunk of work that they're doing as they open those roads to upgrade gas delivery here in the city of Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon will also go down into some of those same streets and work on our sewers, as well as work on water lines here in the city of Mount Vernon. What's so great about the coordination of this work is we'll only have to open those streets once. So Con Ed will open them for gas. We'll go down and we'll work on some of those same streets for sewers, as well as for water lines, and then Con Ed will repave it. So if you notice, everything that's in green will be repaved by the city of Mount Vernon. The things that are in orange, because Con Ed is opening up those streets, they will also be repaving those streets curb to curb. And that's been a lot of complaint that we've had here in the city of Mount Vernon over the years, is that when Con Ed opens the ground, they don't close it curb to curb. If you drive up Fifth Street in the Heights area, Cedar, Seneca Avenue, and notice those streets over there, those are streets that Con Ed has been working on and have closed them. They're doing a lot of work right now on Columbus Avenue. They should be finishing up that work in the next, by the end of this month. And so within the first week of November, those streets and those roads will be paved. So between Mount Vernon's paving projects that we're going to be doing between now and the close of the year, and the work that Con Ed is doing, we're going to see a lot of our streets paved. If you notice on 4th Avenue, I mean, there have been plates on 4th Avenue probably for the last year. 4th Avenue has received a full curb-to-curb repaving from 4th Avenue and 1st Street through 4th Avenue and 2nd Street. And so that's looking good. There's a lot of infrastructure work that's being done, but we are doing it in a way that is being coordinated and will save Mount Vernon millions and millions of dollars in repaving. Some of the other infrastructure projects that are going on, if you haven't been to, the downtown area of Mount Vernon, if you notice back in 2019, I believe in July or August of 2019, the 14th Avenue Bridge was completed. In 2020, the 6th Avenue Bridge was totally rebuilt and completed. In 2021, the 10th Avenue Bridge was totally redone and completed. And then the last one to be totally redone by the MTA is the 3rd Avenue Bridge, and that's completed. We are working with the MTA right now for them to put out their request for proposals for the Fulton Avenue Bridge and I think it's South Street Bridge. Yeah, I believe it's the South Street Bridge, all the way down towards 241st. But those are two bridges that have been downgraded to about 3 tons passage, meaning our garbage trucks and our fire trucks cannot go over there, as well as tractor trailers, because those bridges are not strong enough. So Fulton Avenue Bridge, as well as the South Street Bridge, will be rebuilt. We see that the Lincoln Avenue Bridge going from Mount Vernon to Pelham, that's almost finished. So the state that's the State Department of Transportation is finishing that. So, that's going to be really, really good progress. 4 out of our 11 bridges that cross the railroad cut are brand new. The Park Avenue Bridge that was done during Clinton Young's time, so that's about 10 years old. And we're going to get 2 more bridges done soon. So we're going to take a few more questions, if there are any more questions. Any plan for affordable housing units? And so, affordable housing, it depends on what you call affordable housing. The average median income here in Westchester is about $105,000 for a household. What we've been doing here in the city of Mount Vernon is we've been working with some housing developers who are building housing between what you call 60% AMI, average median income, which will be for those making somewhere around 50 to 60,000, and all the way up to market rate housing. So that's some of the affordable. We call it workforce housing. Right now, insofar as what you call public housing, where you get to pay 30% of your income, regardless what your income is, towards housing, those units are not necessarily being built. With all of the projects that we're looking at here, in the buildings where the average income will be 60% AMI, you'll have a few units being built for those who make about 30,000, 50,000, 60,000, 80,000, and 100,000. So no longer in Mount Vernon are you going to see buildings built like they were back in the day, like Levister Towers, where everything is for people who make $30,000 a year and lower. HUD doesn't even fully fund those type of projects like that anymore. And we don't want to continue to segregate our residents here in the city of Mount Vernon. We want to build housing that is mixed income, where you have a variety of units that are from very affordable up to market rate. And so that's what we're doing here in Mount Vernon, is all of our housing projects will have a range of affordability of those housing here in the city of Mount Vernon. Said, can I talk about cars parked in front of hydrants, and posted on the corners also about the motorcycle riding on sidewalks and loud noise that wakes up our kids? Thank you, Ms. Botello. So look, we've been saying for a long time, do not park in front of hydrants, do not park on corners. You are impeding city services, and you are messing with public safety. And so we've been ticketing those cars who are parked at hydrants, and we are ticketing cars that are parked on the corners. When you're parked on the corners where you're not supposed to park, ambulances can't get through, police cars can't get through, DPW trucks can't get through, fire engines cannot get through. And so we're going to be ticketing those, and hopefully when we can expand our capacity, we'll get some companies in here to tow them. People say, well, there's not enough parking in Mount Vernon. Well, there's never going to be enough parking in Mount Vernon when you have, Mount Vernon is a city that was built over 100 years ago. And when you have a person, a household that has 4 or 5 cars, or, a 2-bedroom apartment, and everyone in that apartment has cars, when you choose a neighborhood, you have to determine what neighborhood you're going to choose based on the parking. If you live in a building in a neighborhood where there's absolutely no parking, and you continue to go out and get cars, that's a challenge. We just don't have extra parking to build and create here in Mount Vernon. As developers build buildings here in Mount Vernon, they are required to provide the proper number of parking spaces for their buildings. But a lot of people are just buying extra cars. We're dealing with the illegal paper tags that we see all over Mount Vernon. We see tags, paper tags from everywhere. So the police department here in Mount Vernon has been working very well with our county police department in ticketing and towing these cars. We've also found illegal guns in these cars, and a lot of these paper tags we're concerned about because these are cars that are not registered, they're cars that are not insured, and we are definitely going to continue to look to hit these cars and get them off of the road. So Ms. Ruth, when it comes to people on the South Side, people all over Mount Vernon make a certain amount. I live on the South Side also, born and raised, still live on the South Side. Everyone on the South Side is not making below 30%. We'll never be able to build enough low-income housing for people. But one of the things that we're trying to do here in Mount Vernon is expand the capacity of our residents to make more money. And so through job training programs and job training partnership programs with different corporations. The County of Westchester, we're also going into a new partnership with an organization called Empower. We're working with our regional unions to come in and do more job training. But everyone is going to have to push for extra education, higher jobs and expand their capacity. If we are building housing just for people who make under $30,000, you can't pay taxes, you're not charging taxes, and then we're not able to provide city services. And so we're focused more on not just building affordable housing for people who make under $30,000 a year, but how can we help people who make under $30,000 a year get the education, the job training, get a trade so that they can qualify for higher paying jobs and make more money. The minimum wage of $15 an hour right now really comes out to about $28,000 to $30,000 a year. And so anyone making minimum wage, if you're making minimum wage, you're making close to $30,000 a year. And if it's more than one adult in that household, then that household income is higher. So we're never going to be able to build enough housing units, but we do have an opportunity and a responsibility as a community, as a county, as a state to ensure that we are upskilling and reskilling our citizenry so that they can be competitive for higher wage jobs. This is important. And it's not just the city's job, it's also the school district's job. And so, we're looking for our school district to really bring back some of the vocational educational programs that they had when I went to the high school. I graduated in '86, and you could get, your certification as an auto mechanic, plumbing, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, beautician, architecture and things of that nature. A carpenter and carpentry. There were so many different vocational education programs that have historically been available through the school system, and they make good money. So when you're a carpenter or you're a plumber or an electrician, and you have a trade, you're out there making a lot of money. I know anytime I have to call them to my house, no one's coming out to my house for less than $150, even if it only takes them like a half an hour to fix something. And so, we really want the school district to bring the trades back. And we're also working with our local colleges and community colleges to continue to provide opportunities. Education is key. Education is the great equalizer. Education is the great equalizer, and we have to continue to push that. What's being done regards to business keeping their properties clean? CVS on Sanford Boulevard is horrible. Thank you so much, Ms. Crump. So what we've done is we have hired recently in the past few months, and they've just finished their training, code enforcement officers in the building department, and we will be adding code enforcement officers to our DPW department within this new budget year. This is what we're looking to do because, right now we're so short in staff that enforcement has been lacking in Mount Vernon, and people have been able to get away with stuff, and so they do. So we will be having these code enforcement officers going around to the different businesses, as well as some of our DPW foremen, and writing tickets for not just CVS on Sanford Boulevard, but Family Dollar or the Dollar Tree on Fulton Avenue. Their parking lot and around their property is nasty. Family Dollar on 3rd Street, their property is there's a lot of properties throughout Mount Vernon. Their properties are nasty, but since we have not had code enforcement officers to go out there and write tickets, they've been able to get away with this type of behavior for a long time. So they will be doing that. And please, that's why we created the CMVNY Connect app. So if you see something, take a picture of it, load it, upload it on the app, not on Facebook. We're not trolling Facebook all day. You know, Mount Vernon residents, please stop using Facebook as a way to make your complaints. If you have a complaint, if you have a concern, send an email to the respective departments here in the city of Mount Vernon so that we can address it. But we're not just sitting on Facebook all day to see if you say there's dirt on this street or there's noise on another street. And I'm sorry, Ms. Botello, you also talked about the modified mufflers and the, what do you call those? I guess motorbikes, things of that nature. One of the challenges that we're having here in Mount Vernon, as well as everywhere else, is we are not allowed legally to chase those motorbikes down the street. So if they're on the sidewalk or on the street, our police department cannot pursue them because that will cause accidents and crashes. And so we, have been confiscating some when we're able to find them or catch them in a way that it's not going to bring a danger to the residents. That's what we're looking to do. So most of the stores on 4th Avenue need a facelift, a dash of painting, new awning to improve the shopping outlook district, the shopping district. So yes, that's part of the conversation that we'll be having with our small businesses, for them to do a facelift of their businesses, to have pride for the businesses that they have here in Mount Vernon. Again, these code enforcement officers to go and start writing tickets to the different businesses. We have sign ordinances in Mount Vernon that haven't been followed probably for over a decade. And interestingly enough, a lot of the business owners don't own the buildings, they rent from them. So we have to really start addressing the owners of these buildings, so that they're investing in the buildings and giving a facelift to our downtown area. Hopefully by 2022 or 2023, we'll be able to do like Peekskill did and put in an application for the state for one of those downtown redevelopment grants from the New York State ESD, Economic Development Department, because that would really, really be helpful for us to do a real downtown redevelopment plan. But we will be working with some of our downtown businesses to really bring their stores up, as well as take a lot of the signs out of the stores. So we are really about to wrap up. I think I have about 2 minutes left. And so, is there anything that I left out, Malcolm? Let me see. So like I said, we are in the place right now. This is budget season. I had a meeting from, I think, 11 a.m. to about 8 o'clock on Friday. We just sat there drilling down into the budget. So over the next few weeks, we will be coming out with our budget proposal. Like I said, we are exploring new revenue streams here in the city of Mount Vernon that will allow us to invest in public safety as well as sanitation, and improving the cleanliness as well as the safety of our community here in Mount Vernon. We know that when your community is beautiful and people feel good about living there, that they're also more respectful, and that also will impact public safety and impact a decrease in crime. So please keep your ears attuned as we put out more information on the budget and as we start our budget hearing processes, we're being transparent about this, but we really have to find a way of bringing new revenue streams into Mount Vernon so that we can provide the services and the consistency and the quality of services that our residents here in Mount Vernon so greatly deserve and have been asking for a long time. So please tune in next week. It is political season. We will be having our candidates for city council, county legislator, county executive, coming on the show and talking to you about what they are looking to do. Early voting begins next Saturday. Early voting begins here in Mount Vernon next Saturday. So the early voting locations are Mount Vernon City Hall and the Mount Vernon Dole Center at 250 South 6th Avenue. So early voting is coming. Stay alert and stay awake. And we look forward to seeing you at the polls. Take care, and we'll see you next Sunday at 8 p.m. on Sundays with Sean. Be well. Take care.